invest in daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. In women, in girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, the founder of She Angel Investors and She Angel Foundation. So happy to have you here with us today. We have a very special guest. As you know, every week we interview female founders and funders. And today we have an incredible founder. She's a young lady that's starting up a new business with a friend of hers with a purpose. I'm so happy to bring on Ilana Friedman. Hi, Ilana.
Hi, Catherine. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You bet. And you are a California girl, right? You were born here?
Born and raised and spent most of my life here.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Well, I know we're both in LA right now, but you have a pretty interesting journey that I want to share with everybody. And you recently helped co-found, right, a company called Tusol Wellness. And we're going to be talking about how this can help people that have health issues, how a friend of yours had some health issues, and it's how and why you created these products. And I'm excited to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about your journey to getting here. So you grew up here in Los Angeles, but you went to school in Berkeley, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I went to UC Berkeley after leaving Los Angeles.
And it kind of sounds like that's where your entrepreneurial endeavors kicked in. Yeah, you were telling me, tell everybody about what you did at Berkeley, what you started there.
Absolutely. So when I was up there, I mean, I think growing up in Los Angeles, we really take for granted the health consciousness that we're all raised with. And so when I went off to college, I didn't really realize the amount of education that was missing from, so many people that didn't know why what you eat matters and how what you eat affects your health and your well-being. And so I wanted to be able to bring healthy food on campus to students in a way that was accessible and affordable. So I started partnering with local farmers in the Bay Area and buying bulk produce and bringing it to campus and selling it on campus to be able to help students understand and have access to healthier food than, traditional college food might be.
I love that because, most people call it the freshman 20. Most people go away to college and they put on weight because they're not at home and there's no holds bar. They can do whatever they want and they're eating fast food and drinking beer and, wings and fries and whatever. And that's very common around the country that people put on weight their first freshman year. Also, too, coming from not from LA, but moving here, it really was eye-opening how health conscious people are. And it's really a great thing to perpetuate, but you're right, that message needs to spread across the country, how important what we ingest is in our health. People don't realize how much eating organic food or healthy food impacts you. I remember going out with about 6 women to breakfast here in Los Angeles, and they ordered one breakfast for everybody to split. And I was like, oh my God, I really am in LA.
Welcome.
But that kidding aside, it is a great endeavor that you had to help keep college students on track with eating healthy. And I think that was an awesome thing that you did, that you started at that campus. Now, after that endeavor in college, you came back here and started a nonprofit, also health oriented. Obviously, this is your passion. Tell us a little bit about that nonprofit, because I was fascinated with that.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. So while I was at Berkeley, I also spent a lot of time working in elementary schools and working in their culinary gardens. And I always just loved helping teach kids about the importance of nutrition, because as you're saying, we completely take it for granted here. And so it was really, something I wanted to be involved in beyond just the college campus. So I moved back to Los Angeles And I wanted to find a way to address that here. And so I started working with at-risk teens in East LA in the Hollenbeck area, and started because these kids are in food deserts and they are so close to farms and beautiful farmers markets, but they don't really have the understanding or the access to it. So I started bringing those kids into farms, just north of Los Angeles, and farmers markets here in Santa Monica, where all the chefs are shopping. And then brought them into restaurants as well, where we were able to teach them how to use the food that they were, harvesting. And so it was more of this effort to bring education and access and awareness to teens as well here in Los Angeles. And then I launched it as well in Harlem, New York, because it was a similar situation where, those teens are close to amazing farms in Brooklyn and Queens. And there are a lot of great ecosystems that people have created, whether it's, rooftop gardens or plots of land where they have all the animals there. So I started working a lot with teenagers at that point and ran that nonprofit for about 3 years between LA and New York.
And what was the name of that?
It was called Farm and Kitchen Foundation.
Farm and Kitchen Foundation. I just love that. And it's so true. It's all about education. And so here you're helping these inner city kids get educated about the importance of fruit, vegetables from farms and organic food, and, that otherwise they wouldn't even know about. And, education is everything. And, gosh, it sounds like something that should be done in every city around the country, because it is city folk that tend to really not eat as healthy, I think, just because they're not aware or they didn't grow up with it, and it is so important to have this ingrained in your psyche and your culture at a young age, right? Who influenced you? Were your parents always, into health?
My parents were always very health conscious, and they always kind of, it was nutrition, it was movement, and it was stress management. And those were the most important things to pay attention to. And so I think that, I'm extremely grateful for that. And I was blessed to have that mindset growing up. But then as soon as you step outside of your own household, you see that that's not common. And so it's always this, push and pull between, and I wanted to attack this problem, however, I thought would be effective and scalable. And so it's difficult because there's the policy side of it, and there's, the government side of it, and then there's the household side of it, and then there's the school side of it, and there's the restaurant and fast food side of it. And so there are so many ways to approach it that I agree these foundations should be in every city, but it's much more complicated than just, we all have to do our part, basically.
Right.
Take the village.
So all right. So I just have to, on a side note, just say, all right, what's your big indulgence? Come on, Ilana, you got to have one.
No, I'm actually a big cheese person, because I also spent a lot of time in the Napa Valley. And so wine and cheese was, everything there. So
Right. Let's talk about that. So you were working for the famous French Laundry, which a lot of people know. The famous chef there, who's world renowned. Remind me his name.
Thomas Keller.
Thomas Keller, right.
Mm-hmm.
And he has many great restaurants around the country and the world now. But that was wasn't that his first?
Oh,
I don't know if it was his first, but it was certainly the most famous.
It's definitely the biggest one. I think he started one in Florida before that, but nonetheless, it's his big one.
So with that, I know you were helping with the menu and helping run it, but also there were like fresh gardens and stuff across the street that you were really into. Like, tell us a little bit about that. I don't think a lot of people know about that.
Absolutely. So across the street is, I want to say it's 4 acres. There's a plot of land where a lot of the crops are grown for the restaurant, which is just across the street. So every day, there's a full team in the garden, and they're planting and harvesting in relation to the menu. So I really wanted to learn about the relationship then between the restaurants and the suppliers, and took that opportunity to do so. So it's really beautiful there. They have that smaller culinary garden, and they've got a much larger farm a little bit somewhere else in the Napa Valley, but everything is harvested day of and brought in just across the street. And it's really a beautiful synergy. and how that dictates the menu.
That's awesome. More restaurants should have that sort of scenario that keeps it, fresh and organic and healthy, right?
It makes a big difference
Yeah,
because
makes a
if you
big
have
difference.
the best ingredients, you don't really need to do much cooking. Not
Right.
to put
Right.
down what they're doing, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the most important part.
It
Is to
starts with that. Yeah.
basically.
Now from there and all this that you've done in the past, you were telling me the story that you had a friend that had some health issues, and that's how you started into this new venture. Let's talk about how that began and what it is you guys are doing that's so exciting.
Okay, so after leaving the Napa Valley, I wanted to get back into health and wellness because, I learned so much there about the experience that you give people and what they get excited about and how to really create, memories and something special. And I wanted to be able to deliver that on a daily basis to people and in a way that'll make them feel healthier and not, stuck in bed the next day. And so I moved back to Los Angeles and I was wanting to get involved in some sort of startup or company that was helping people with wellness. I had noticed, I think, over trying to work with teens, trying to work with elementary school, with college, et cetera, that the people making the decisions and the people responsible for what the next generation consumes, it's really the moms, it's really the women. They're the ones making the purchases, they're the ones cooking the food, going to the store. So I decided, okay, let's try and tackle it, with women first. And what can I create for women that they'll get excited to eat every day, that they'll have a beautiful experience, and that they'll actually feel a difference in their body. And so I had met through mutual friends in Malibu a woman who had healed her own Crohn's disease and who was helping other women within Malibu through these customized smoothie mixes. And so she offered me, to try a month of them, and I felt so much better. I had so much more energy, cravings disappeared. I finally felt like after a few years in the Napa Valley that I was able to kind of take care of my system again. And so I said, I have to help you bring this to more women because I think this is something that is so easy to use and it's so effective so quickly and it tastes really good that, this could really help people. And so we launched Tusol about a year ago, a little over a year ago now. And so we're selling, I can kind of show you through here, but we're selling 5 different smoothie formulations.
Mm-hmm.
And so all 5 of them are vegan, certified organic, very clean ingredients, and they're all designed for a specific function. So, for example, this one's designed for immunity and for skin collagen because we all want to.
Yeah, who doesn't need that? Send me a case.
Done. We have one that's designed for gut health and stress management.
And gut health, let's face it, that is like probably the most important thing. I have a friend that's in that space that healed themselves from MS, and they said it was all about gut health. It was this leaky gut that people have because of what we eat so poorly, and it causes the gut to leak, and then that causes all these diseases. And so that sounds like a great product. Yeah.
They're all designed really for gut health. They all have probiotics, prebiotics, enzymes, kind of everything put together. I want to hear this MS story though. I've never heard of that, and that's unbelievable.
And what are the other ones?
Sure. So this one, it's turmeric and ginger. It's designed to reduce inflammation. We have one, this is of course, our favorite. It's a cacao-based one. It's designed for energy.
Oh, we love cacao.
Medicinal mushrooms in it, and maca, it really brightens your energy and mood. And this last one's designed for cognitive health. So it has the mushrooms in it as well. And it's designed to protect neuroplasticity and really help with focus and energy as well.
I love that. So a lot of people out there, or at least myself, I'm always curious how people create a product. So like here you have this idea, you and your friend that has the Crohn's disease and wanted to heal herself. How does she know what ingredients were going to help cure her? And I take it this product has helped her. She's doing great.
Absolutely. Her
Yeah.
and many of our clients have noticed a big difference in their health issues.
That's great. I have a friend that has Crohn's disease. I'm going to tell them about this. In fact, I think I have two friends, and that's amazing. So did she try different formulas to see what was going to work, and then just hit on it and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm feeling better," and then is that how the product was created? Like, I'm so curious. Like, I imagine there's people out there thinking, "Wow, I wish I could create something to cure what I have or whatever." So how did she go about that?
Yeah, I think that, many wellness companies start when you've tried everything and there's nothing left to try and no one's helping you anymore. So after surgeries and after steroids and antibiotics, everything, if it doesn't help, you're kind of left to your own vices. And I think that's how a lot of people feel, is that they've tried everything and
Right.
nothing's worked for them. And so for her, it just became a lot of research in biochemistry and nutrition. And then many of the formulations and the way that the ingredients work together it's all rooted in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. And so we have, while we haven't tested specifically the formulas in their finished form, we have enough research on all of these ingredients, how they work with the body and how they work with each other. So it goes beyond, chaga is good for this part of your body. It's how does that work with the other ingredients in each smoothie to boost each other, and how can that then deliver more rapid results, and then paired with enzymes to improve the availability. And so it kind of becomes, you're building different pieces on top of each other, but most of the formulation is just rooted in, these modalities that we've been using for thousands and thousands of years.
Basically, it's kind of like an Eastern medicine as opposed to Western medicine. When Western medicine doesn't work, I think a lot of people turn to Eastern medicine. And this is basically having an Eastern medicine shake, so to speak. I mean, all natural ingredients that you've formulated to come together for healing and for optimization of your health. Tusol, Tusol, for those listening and not watching. Wellness is your website where they can get these powdered drinks, and you mix it with water or with some sort of like almond milk or something. Like, what do you mix them with?
Sure. So most clients will mix a packet in a blender with almond milk and ice, maybe throw a banana or something else in. On their own, they don't have a ton of calories. So we always recommend, if you're using them, we have clients that use them twice a day as meal replacements, to throw in a banana or something else just to make sure you're nourishing your body. But
Right.
it's ready in a minute and it's travel friendly. We wanted it to be as easy as possible for people.
Yeah, I see it comes in the packet, so you could throw it in your suitcase and travel with it. So it's great as a meal replacement or like an in-between meal snack.
I would say meal replacement. I mean, it'll keep you full 4 to 6 hours because it's got
That's
plenty of
fantastic.
fiber in there. It will. It definitely
I
will.
love that. Often too, people will be listening, they'll say, gee, I have a product I want to create. And I've always fascinated with how people, got it manufactured and packaged and distributed. What was that like for you as an entrepreneur? That had to be exciting and challenging at the same time, I take it.
I think for me, that's the most fun part, because that's where you get to combine, the creativity and the experience and really start to see something you're imagining come together. It's important, of course, to have a clear vision and to have people around you who you can show things to, and they can kind of say, that's not a good idea, or that is. But I
Oh,
think that's the
definitely.
most exciting part, is really watching it come to life and, being able to pull creativity into the process.
So you found like a local manufacturer to create it and package it for you?
We work with one in Texas, actually. We visited so many, and, we only found one that we absolutely loved. They're extremely clean. They third-party lab test every single ingredient. Like,
Wow.
I won't share what we found in other ones, but this one is beautiful and it's in Texas. So we're really lucky to work with them.
Oh, that's really good, reassuring to know and good to know. So, and entrepreneurs out there, they're wanting to start a business like you guys did, some sort of product or something. The first thing you do is look for the right manufacturer that fits your ideology somewhere in the country, or some
Very
people live
important.
outside the country. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that had to be an interesting fact-finding mission. And then what about the packaging? You hired people that do packaging to work with you? How did you know how to package it up?
We knew we wanted it in individual packets because so much protein powder, at least in my experience, it sits in a tub and it's either covered with artificial flavorings or it's not, and you can taste how rancid it gets. And so I'm worked in food a long time. I don't want people to taste something that's rancid. And so it was important for us that it was individually sealed so it protects the active ingredients and it doesn't get rancid. So we knew we wanted it individually packaged, and we knew we wanted it to be beautiful and something you'd want to sit on your countertop and use every day. So we just worked with a local designer to help with illustrations, and found someone to do the flexible packaging and then the rigid packaging, and then kind of all came together into one finished product.
Very exciting. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I love that you explained why it's in individual packets. That makes perfect sense, not just for travel, but for storing it or keeping it. That makes a lot of sense. I know so many come in a big tub or something, and it's like, yeah, you keep it too long. And that sounds really smart to individually package it. I love that. Um, what do you think is the future here, and what are some success stories that you'd like to share with us? Like, tell us about how this has impacted your friend or maybe some of the customers.
Yeah, I mean, we're so grateful. We really got into this because we wanted to help people. And so I think the best stories are really, we have a few clients with Crohn's specifically that their symptoms have completely went away, and they're drinking primarily the turmeric one, but one of them at least lives on a boat and she's always traveling, but finally she can travel and not have flare-ups. And then we have one woman with fibromyalgia who's completely cleared up all of her symptoms. And then I would say the most common feedback we get is weight loss, not by design, but because you're finally nourishing your body properly, is we'll get notes about weight loss daily. But
Love that. Okay, now I'm definitely getting a case.
I mean, once you start putting the right things in,
Yeah.
your body adjusts.
Right. And as if it's a meal replacement too, I would imagine it's keeping the calories down. So what's the future? So people now can buy it at tusolwellness.com, which is TUSOL. But are you looking to distribute it? Have you started to distribute it? Where are you with that?
So we're primarily direct to consumer as a subscription model. So we'll ship boxes to people's houses monthly. We do select retail. We're in Erewhon markets here in LA. We're in Farm Shop. We've worked with Soho House in a retail capacity. We do select retail, but it's, we're still bootstrapped, and
Right.
for us, it's much easier to manage the direct to consumer
Sure.
side.
So now I know you're looking for investors. So is this something you're looking to grow into, that you would like to distribute it in more stores? Is that the vision?
It's a great question. And I firmly believe we can have better impact going direct to consumer. I think we've always looked at retail as more of a brand awareness play, and that was especially pre-COVID when we could do demos and tastings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd much rather use that capital towards product expansion and
Mm-hmm.
being able to ship to people outside of the US.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't see it as much as retail, investing in
Yeah,
inventory
more
as I
people
see
are
it.
buying online now anyway. So yeah, that makes sense. When you say product expansion, is this into more drinks, or what are you thinking?
I believe that yes, and beyond. I mean, then we always want to make sure we're designing just the cleanest, most effective products. And so I think we ask our customers all the time what else they want. And so there are other categories within the beverage space that make a lot of sense to go right into. And then beyond there, I think once we've designed and established the brand, we can expand and continue helping people.
Great. It's so great doing what you love, isn't it? Yeah.
It's
I always love talking to people who are so passionate about what they're doing. And I think you're doing such good because you're helping people improve their health. That's a wonderful thing. If somebody's out there listening and I'm always encouraging women to become angel investors. And that's why I like to showcase different businesses every week that are looking for funding, because if there's a woman out there that says, gee, I'm really into wealth and, healthy, conscious living, and I really would like to know more about this product, and not only to buy it, but maybe to invest in it, then they can find you at tusolwellness.com. Can they also find you on social media?
Yes, so we're at Tusol Wellness on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So we're there, and it's a tiny team, so you'll find us.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a great opportunity for someone to get on the ground floor of something really amazing. Thank you so much for, dedicating your life and your time to creating products that are making a difference, and really appreciate it. So wonderful to meet you, Ilana Friedman. Thank you for being on. Remember, everybody, to invest in her, and be sure to visit tusolwellness.com to order their products, or just touch base with Ilana and see how you might get involved. Thank you so much. Make it a great week, and follow us at She Angel Investors. Take care.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.